Good evening, everyone. We are live and we are ready to go with Civility Wins and Dr. Tasha talking tonight, Mental Health Awareness Month. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Kristen Goss, joined with the wonderful Sandy B. Law, as well as Dr. Tasha tonight. We will be talking all things mental health for you. And Civility Wins, find your peace while taming the beast. You can tune us in, look us up on Instagram at civilitywinsseries@gmail.com. You could look us up on YouTube. We are here streaming live tonight for you. And we also have book sales on Amazon. So make sure you purchase your book, Civility Wins. We will be talking about a lot of different topics tonight. We're going on book tours. We had our book launch March 15th. This past March, it was at Christina McKinnon Legal. We have an upcoming tour May 11th at Sun Life Title. It's hosted by Sun Life Title, Magda, and moderated by the wonderful Bianca Moreras. May 11th, 6 to 8 p.m. So make sure you save the date. And we also have a June 20th event with Insperity. So make sure you save the date. More to come on that. And so I am going to turn it over to the wonderful, lovely Sandy B. Law to kick us off with our discussion with Dr. Tasha tonight on mental health and how that relates to Civility Wins.
Thank you so much, Kristen. So guys, it is Mental Health Month, all month long. So we're going to be talking all things mental health awareness, mindfulness, understanding the different signs and issues and things that you should be thinking about when it comes to mental health issues and recognizing certain signs. But as professionals, we decided we wanted to tap into a conversation about mental health when it comes to civility and professionalism. As some of you may know, in following us here at Civility Wins, we have dived into a lot of different conversations about what it means to deal with issues in the realm of, the law, but also just as a working professional, some of the challenges that we face and the struggles, stress, overwork, burnout, depression, all kinds of things that cause attorneys to really deal with some really challenging issues while at the same time having to deal with other people's problems. So tonight, we're going to really dive in and we're going to talk about civility. We're going to talk about professionalism, and we're going to tie all of that into mental health. One of the things that we want to stress upon is that in the legal profession in particular, many attorneys suffer from different mental health issues due to the nature of the work. It is extremely stressful work. It is work that can really challenge the work-life balance. And as we know, you always hear stories about people saying two attorneys shouldn't marry each other. Well, that's two loads. That's 2 loads of stress. You can only imagine. It's stressful for just an attorney. I can testify to some issues that I have where it's like sometimes I'm just working, and I don't even send a text. I don't even say, hey, how was your day? And then it's like, then I'm getting a little attitude, but, the attitude is warranted in some ways, but in other ways, it's kind of like, comes with the territory. So really wanted to dive in, but before we get started, we want to allow Dr. Tasha to introduce herself, talk about some things that she has going on and how you can reach her. So I'll put the floor to you, Dr. Tasha.
Thank you so much, Attorney Sandy and Attorney Kristen, for having me. So how can they reach me? I guess that's on Instagram and Facebook at Dr. Tasha. That's DOCTORA and then Tasha, TASHA. Or the website if you definitely need someone to talk to, individual counseling, family interventions, or even at your job and need to get along with some of the colleagues that you may need. If we can maybe do some type of retreat to talk about that specifically with you guys talking about professionalism. But yes, I am a doctor of clinical psychology. My brand is called drivebytherapy.org, or sorry, Drive By Therapy LLC, but drivebytherapy.org is the website. I literally think I have the best job in the world because people that look like us do not talk about how we are really doing.
That's deep.
I think that we can all testify to that.
We didn't even get started yet.
Yeah.
It's real though, huh? It's like, how am I doing? Oh man, no one asked me that today.
Yeah,
Yep.
I always remember a story. I had a colleague that had a health scare. Actually, I've had quite a few colleagues who have had health scares. And you know what would typically happen is obviously somebody's going to take over for them, or someone's going to be answering calls or fielding questions. And you can't count how many times a client will respond, "What about my case?" Not like, "I hope they're okay." Not, "Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that."
Yeah, no.
First response, "What about my case?"
And don't let it have been you, because it's like, so are you coming back to work on Monday or Tuesday? Even when you're yeah. So how long is it going to take you to recover from that baby that you just had? Do you need 2 or 3 weeks? Or my favorite is when anyone that starts with, and this could be our friends and family instead of just our patients or clients, is when they say, "Sorry to bother you," and then they go on to another 15, 20 minutes of bothering you.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, okay, yes. So I shouldn't have even answered the phone. Great.
Look, it's never sorry to bother you. It's more so like, I'm going to bother you right now, so be prepared to hear what I'm about to say.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry, not sorry, right?
Absolutely. So, Dr. Tasha, we're going to kick off the conversation today, starting to talk a little bit about civility. And Kristen and I, in coming up with this organization called Civility Wins and writing this book called Civility Wins, Find Your Peace While Taming the Beast, we've tapped into something that we are battling with in the legal profession, which is this concept of civility or lack thereof. And it's the situation where, as an attorney, the goal is supposed to be to represent the interest of your client. The goal is supposed to be for you to represent them to the fullest extent and do all the things that you can. But oftentimes, many of our colleagues seem to think that included within that goal is to be nasty, disrespectful, condescending, just adversarial in every way, shape, or form. And to be honest, I'm at my wit's end with it. Like Kristen and I talk about it all the time, and we have to kind of reel ourselves back to say, okay, what's the core issue here? And what do I need to address? And how do I need to address it? Because you can spin right off and cuss somebody out. You can spin right off and go into a whole long, this thesis of things. But there are core issues that create the reason for people to have these levels of animosity. So in your experiences, Dr. Tasha, what kinds of things do you see with professionals in trying to engage with other professionals that maybe kind of carry over into the home life or, into their way of dealing with things?
Oh, that's a big question. I'll start with just professional to professional, or while in your profession, how you speak to your those that you're supposed to be serving. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
Versus talking at, which is what you kind of told me. And talking to versus talking at. So I always like to start with that, because that means that you actually think someone is less than you when you start talking at folks. And so the question is, where did that level of hierarchy and entitlement come from? Is it your title, mister? Is it your title, ma'am? And if so, why does that then warrant for you to make that person feel inferior? So let's just say, right, there's class is a real thing. There's upper middle, there's middle, right? There's lower class. And so, yes, there are different hierarchies in terms of different things like status and class. But does someone have to feel inferior because you are in leadership or because you're in control? And the answer is no, right? But you have to give a damn. Can we say damn on YouTube? Okay, I think we can. You have to give a damn, right? You're just going to have to give a damn a little bit, enough for you to not want them to feel that way, which means you then have to be less narcissistic in those moments to make the other person, meaning the audience, be as important as you, meaning that they at least deserve respect. When you use the word, when you were describing it earlier, nasty and disrespectful, I was like, ooh, right?
Yeah.
And it's deep.
Yeah.
It's crazy that when we need somebody, right? It doesn't matter what it is that we're actually going for in terms of who's going to work for us. When we need somebody, we sometimes just take it because we're like, hey, if this is what we get. And then that's a conversation. So when you're being treated like this by an attorney, or when you're being treated like this by a doctor or anyone of service, you also don't deserve that, which is then a question of your self-worth, right? So it's on both sides. Do you feel as human, sir or ma'am? And then because I am human, I deserve to be treated a certain way. So both are happening at the same time whenever that disrespect is going on. So that's one. Another thing that made me think about the word peace, which we can play with a little bit. I love that slogan. Find your peace while maintaining the beast. Because the beast.
While taming the beast.
Oh, taming. Oh, I
Yes.
said maintaining. See, that's my mental health side. Taming. Okay. Trying to maintain the beast. Okay. What's wrong with me? That's what's wrong with me.
We might need to do that as the second book,
okay,
maybe.
Okay. Taming the beast. But the crazy thing is, the first thought that I thought about for beast was pride.
Yes.
A lot of times you have to let go of your own pride, which means you have to then acknowledge it first. Oh, okay, let's start there, right? So that means that then you ask for help. Do you even know how to ask for help? This is how you find out, how proud am I? How prideful am I? And we can start with, do you know how to ask for help when something is wrong, or when possibly you are not as smart in the room when you try to actually act like you are? Can you ask a question and not feel less than? Right? Because a lot of people that are proud don't even have reasons to be that proud. It's just this false sense of pride that they carry to push people away. Yeah. If that resonated, that's you. Okay. When people are like, oh, that's me issue, it's okay. And that's the first part. You can never acknowledge you can never change anything that you don't acknowledge. So the reason why we do things like this is to say, hey, this is the conversation. We're just here to educate, bring the knowledge. If it resonates, let's do something about it. None of us are perfect, but the truth is we do have to let go of that beast, specifically that ego and that pride that's getting in the way of you to do your daggone job.
That's facts. That's facts.